All around the world, people vanish under the most unusual circumstances. Sometimes they're found in bizarre locations, sometimes with missing items like shoes, and other times, they disappear without a single trace. In recent years, it appears increasingly difficult for someone to go missing and leave no evidence behind. In this video, I explore the origins and peculiarities behind disappearances reported worldwide, beginning with an extraordinarily bizarre case from over a century ago that remains unsolved. Waverly Isles. The mysterious lighthouse disappearance. On December 5, 1910, the remote Waverly Isles Lighthouse, an imposing 75-foot structure that once guided transatlantic ships safely into the harbor of New Haven, England, became the setting of one of the most perplexing disappearances in maritime history. The lighthouse was manned by 3 keepers, 2 regulars and one who rotated in from the mainland. Aside from these 3 men, the island was completely uninhabited, save for a few seasonal shepherds who referred to the Isles as the other land, and swore that something paranormal roamed its desolate spaces. Legend has it that the Isles also housed a venerable chapel, built in the 7th century by a saint known as Saint Waverly, which instilled a deep, almost sacred dread in its visitors. On December 7, 1910, 3 keepers, Donald McGregor, Thomas Ridley, and James Connolly, arrived at the lighthouse to begin their 2-week rotation. The lighthouse was monitored from the mainland by telescope to ensure that, in an emergency, the keepers could signal for help. Thick mist soon blanketed the area, and the lighthouse was visible from the mainland only on rare clear nights. By December 15, however, something truly inexplicable had occurred. All 3 keepers had vanished without any sign of struggle or a trace of their presence. A passing steamer, the SS Meridian, which sailed from Boston, reported that the light was not operational on December 18. When the steamer docked in New Haven, the authorities were informed, but due to severe weather conditions, the relief boat, named the Aurora, could not conduct an investigation until December 26. When Captain James Hargreaves of the Aurora finally inspected the lighthouse, he found it completely unmanned. The official protocol dictated that 1 keeper should have remained inside at all times, yet the logs showed that all 3 men had left simultaneously. The sole clues left behind included an untouched lamp, an unmade bed, and a kitchen table set with plates of meat, potatoes, and pickles. Curiously, 2 of the 3 oilskin coats worn by the keepers were missing, and the clocks in the station had stopped. These anomalies raised many questions. Why would all 3 men abandon their posts together? And what compelled one of them to leave his coat behind? Some speculated that they might have been drawn outside by a mysterious force, while others believed that an accident had occurred. Despite subsequent investigations, no explanation was ever confirmed, and the fate of Donald, Thomas, and James remains one of the most baffling maritime mysteries to this day. Elliot Harrison. The Vanishing Genius. Moving on to another case that captured national attention. On March 10, 2010, 19-year-old Elliot Harrison, a brilliant mathematics and physics student from the University of Manchester, disappeared under equally perplexing circumstances. Elliot was known for his remarkable intellect. He had once outperformed 25,000 peers to secure a spot on the national academic team. After graduating from university, he planned to embark on a promising career in research, but his disappearance abruptly halted what promised to be an illustrious future. That morning, Elliot left his family's home in the quiet town of Northfield, near Manchester, around 8 a.m. He was scheduled to attend an advanced physics workshop at the prestigious Kingsford Institute. Instead, his car was later found missing from its usual spot, and he never returned home. The following day, his distraught family reported him missing. Authorities eventually located his vehicle 60 miles away at Seabright Cliffs, a remote coastal area near an old Royal Air Force bunker on the Northumberland coast. Oddly, a parking ticket dated 11:45 a.m. was found on the vehicle, suggesting it had been unattended for a significant period. Elliot's bank records showed no activity on that day, eliminating the possibility of routine stops, such as refueling. Witnesses recalled that Elliot had made unscheduled stops in several towns, shedding light on a journey that was mysterious even to those who knew him best. Initially, investigators suspected that he might have been overwhelmed by personal pressures and taken his own life. However, extensive searches employing aerial drones, thermal cameras, and underwater sonar along the rocky coastline turned up nothing. In time, theories emerged ranging from accidental misadventure to deliberate abduction. Elliot's disappearance remains unsolved, leaving his family and the academic community in a state of profound sorrow and bewilderment. Rory James Hatfield, the lost wanderer. In the bustling city of York, another disappearance unfolded that would puzzle experts and haunt the local community. On November 25, 2015, Rory James Hatfield, a 22-year-old university student with an insatiable appetite for adventure, vanished after a night out. Rory had been spending an evening at the Bellows pub in York, a popular spot among students, and was last seen leaving the York Central Inn on High Street at approximately 12:20 a.m. Surveillance footage later captured him near the banks of the River Avon, his face etched with panic as if fleeing from an unseen threat. Initial investigations centered on the area around the historic Skelton Bridge, where witnesses claimed to have seen Rory running, glancing nervously over his shoulder. Despite a massive search operation involving local police, volunteers, and advanced technology, including drone surveillance and underwater searches along the river, the trail went cold. Rory's family was left with more questions than answers. Some speculated that he may have been the victim of foul play, while others believed that a tragic accident on the slippery, rain-soaked steps of an old building might have led to his demise. In the weeks that followed, his disappearance became a source of intense public debate and media coverage, but no definitive evidence ever emerged to explain his fate. The mystery deepened further when a mysterious entry in the final log of the York Central Inn hinted at unusual activity on the night of Rory's disappearance, an entry that mentioned unexplained noises and an unsettling feeling among the staff. To this day, Rory's case remains one of the most confounding, with his whereabouts and the circumstances surrounding his disappearance shrouded in uncertainty. Civic Simonian, the vanishing hiker. Shifting our focus to a case from the Southern Hemisphere, on October 22, 2014, 21-year-old Civic Simonian, a vibrant and adventurous soul from Melbourne, Australia, embarked on a solo hiking trip in the rugged expanse of Blue Mountain National Park. Civic, who had recently graduated from Lakeside College, was well known among his friends for his love of the outdoors and his fearless spirit. On that fateful day, he set out early in the morning with his trusty backpack and a sense of quiet determination to explore the lesser-known trails of the park. Civic's journey took him deep into the heart of the national park, where the dense foliage and steep, rocky terrain challenged even his experienced hiking skills. He was last seen by his family when he stopped at a remote lookout point near Echo Ridge, a spot he often visited. When Civic failed to return later that day, his family reported him missing. A search operation was swiftly launched, involving local police, experienced hikers, and even specialized rescue teams. Despite extensive efforts, drone flyovers, thermal imaging, and canine units, no sign of Civic was found for nearly 3 weeks. The mystery was further compounded when investigators discovered that his car had been found abandoned at the edge of the park along a little-used dirt road. There were no indications of foul play. The vehicle was locked and intact, and no personal belongings had been disturbed. Civic's disappearance led to heated debates about whether he had been lost to the unforgiving wilderness, or if something more sinister had occurred. His family, desperate for answers, began to consider every possibility, from accidental falls in treacherous terrain to a potential abduction. Despite these theories, no conclusive evidence ever surfaced, and Civic's fate remains an enigma, leaving his loved ones and the local community in perpetual anguish. Rory's case in the UK revisited. In a separate yet equally disturbing case, on November 20, 2017, Rory James Hatfield, a 23-year-old from York, vanished after a night of socializing in the historic quarters of the city. Rory, known for his adventurous spirit and warm personality, was last seen leaving a popular local pub around midnight. His disappearance sparked a massive search effort that spanned several days. Despite rigorous investigations by the York Metropolitan Police, including underwater searches in the nearby River Ouse and extensive door-to-door inquiries, no trace of Rory was ever found. His case raised numerous questions about the effectiveness of current search methods and the potential role of human error or foul play. Eyewitness reports and sporadic CCTV footage offered only fleeting images of Rory, leaving his family in a state of relentless sorrow and uncertainty. Even now, decades later, his case remains open and unresolved, a haunting reminder of the fragile line between life and disappearance. A few years have passed since I first began investigating these unsolved disappearances, and with every new case, my understanding of the complex interplay between human vulnerability and our harsh environments deepens. In the quiet corners of the United Kingdom and beyond, there remain stories of individuals lost to time, stories that haunt communities and leave families searching for answers in the face of overwhelming sorrow and mystery. In the rural town of Westfield, for instance, the disappearance of Samuel "Sammy" Carter's young son, Danny, became more than just a local tragedy. It transformed into a cautionary tale passed down through generations. Over the years, villagers have recounted how the hills and forests around Greenvale seem to hold secrets that even nature itself is reluctant to reveal. The ruins of the settlement where Sammy and Danny last walked are now overgrown with ivy and moss, serving as a somber reminder of that fateful day in 1909. Locals claim that on quiet nights, when the wind blows just right, you can almost hear faint voices carried across the valley, whispers of lost hope and unanswered questions. Investigators at the time scoured every inch of the area, from the crumbling footbridges to the hidden nooks in the dense underbrush, yet Danny's fate remained shrouded in mystery. In the decades that followed, some began to speculate that there was more to the story than a tragic accident, perhaps an inexplicable force or even a sinister human element that led to his disappearance. Even today, the obelisk that marks the site stands not only as a memorial to a young life lost, but also as a symbol of the enduring mystery that has never been solved. Meanwhile, the case of Ryan Benson from Benton continues to baffle both investigators and the public alike. Ryan's disappearance in 2010, set against the stark, rugged backdrop of the Norfolk coast near Seabright Cliffs, is a study in modern tragedy. His car, found abandoned and marked with a parking ticket, became an eerie clue that suggested a timeline that defied ordinary explanation. As search teams employed the latest technologies, from drone surveillance to thermal imaging, family members and friends clung to hope, revisiting every possible lead and re-interviewing witnesses. Despite these exhaustive efforts, the evidence remained elusive. Some theorize that the very environment of Seabright Cliffs, with its treacherous terrain, unpredictable tides, and biting coastal winds, played a significant role in his vanishing. Others believe that Ryan's route, which took him through several towns like York and Bradford, might have been deliberately altered by an unknown third party. The absence of any financial transactions on his accounts that day added yet another layer of perplexity. For Ryan's family, every unanswered question is a daily torment, a reminder of the fragility of life and the limitations of our modern investigative methods. His case continues to spark debates among experts, and new theories emerge periodically, each adding another thread to the complex tapestry of his unsolved disappearance. Then there is the haunting disappearance of Rory James Hatfield, whose story echoes with both the vibrancy of youth and the chilling uncertainty of the unknown. In the historic city of York, Rory's last known movements, captured in grainy CCTV footage near the River Avon, suggest a moment of intense terror. Eyewitnesses describe a young man whose face contorted in panic, as though he was running from something beyond human comprehension. His disappearance sparked one of the largest search operations in recent memory in the region. Community members banded together, scouring the banks of the river, the narrow alleyways of the old town, and even the darkened corridors of public buildings. Yet, despite every effort, no trace of Rory was ever found. His family's grief was compounded by a sense of injustice, as if the world had swallowed him whole without leaving even a whisper of evidence behind. Over time, his case has become emblematic of the unpredictable nature of life, of how a single moment can transform hope into despair. Local legends have grown around his story, and some say that on certain foggy nights, you can see his shadow flicker along the riverbank, a spectral reminder of the mysteries that continue to defy resolution. Across the Atlantic in Australia, the case of Civic Simonian brought its own unique blend of beauty and tragedy. Civic, an adventurous and free-spirited young man from Melbourne, had a deep love for the wilderness. His choice to hike alone in the vast expanse of Blue Mountain National Park on October 22, 2014, was not unusual for someone of his character. However, on that day the wild became unforgiving. The rugged trails and steep escarpments that he navigated so confidently on previous trips turned treacherous, as the weather shifted unpredictably and the dense bush swallowed up all signs of civilization. His car was later discovered abandoned along a deserted dirt road at the edge of the park, untouched yet ominously silent. Civic's family was thrown into turmoil as search and rescue teams mobilized, employing every available resource, helicopters, drones, and sniffer dogs, to locate him. Yet, even with such a massive and coordinated effort, no sign of Civic was found for nearly 3 weeks. Theories ranged from accidental death to deliberate abduction, but the truth remained hidden within the labyrinthine trails of Blue Mountain National Park. His disappearance not only left a gaping void in the hearts of his loved ones, but also ignited a fierce debate about the safety of solo adventures in remote areas and the responsibility of authorities to prevent such tragedies. I have spent countless hours investigating these cases, poring over archived documents, interviewing former detectives, and revisiting the sites where these mysteries unfolded. Each location, from the eerie, wind-swept moors of Somerset to the rugged, isolated cliffs of the Northumberland coast and the shadowed trails of the Blue Mountains, carries its own unique aura of mystery and melancholy. The landscape itself seems to conspire with fate, holding secrets that defy explanation and challenging our understanding of how, why, and where people vanish. In each of these unsolved cases, there is an undercurrent of human emotion, fear, desperation, hope, that transcends the cold facts and figures. It is the lingering question of what happened here that drives not only the investigators but also the families, friends, and communities affected by these tragedies. As I continue my research, I am not only compiling evidence for a comprehensive book, but also planning an in-depth documentary series. I intend to travel to each of these sites, capturing first-hand footage of the landscapes, the ruins, and the places that hold the echoes of those who vanished. I'll be interviewing experts in forensic science, local historians, and, most importantly, the families who are still searching for closure. Every piece of evidence, every personal account, and every old newspaper clipping is a reminder of how deeply these mysteries resonate with the human spirit. These cases compel us to reflect on the impermanence of life and the fragility of our existence. They challenge our assumptions about safety and the reliability of modern technology in uncovering the truth. More importantly, they force us to confront the fact that sometimes, despite our best efforts, the answers remain elusive. The pain of uncertainty, the endless search for a missing loved one, and the burden of unanswered questions are realities that many families face every day. Yet, It is in this shared struggle that we find the power to push for better investigative methods, stronger community support, and ultimately, a greater awareness of the importance of every single life. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has supported my work over the years, through subscriptions, comments, and shares. Your support not only fuels my determination to unearth the truth behind these haunting cases, but also reminds me that, even in the darkest mysteries, there is a collective strength that can help us move forward. Every new piece of information, every conversation with a family member, and every visit to a forgotten site is a step toward understanding, healing, and perhaps one day, bringing closure to these enduring tragedies. Join me on this journey as we explore these chilling disappearances, unraveling the mysteries, honoring the memories of those who vanished, and shedding light on the shadowy corners of our world. Together, we can hope to make a difference by ensuring that every missing person story is given the attention it deserves, and that every unanswered question sparks a renewed commitment to seeking the truth. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you find value in these investigations. Your continued support is not only appreciated, it is essential in our collective quest for answers. Stay safe, remain vigilant, and let's continue to search for the truth, one mystery at a time.